Okay, if it is less than or equal to delta, and then the things can be taken up. So examine the problem of recording a system's global state so that we may make useful statements about whether a transitory state as opposed to a stable state occurred in actual execution or not. So this is what we require in general when debugging a distributed. So again, in case of Chandy and Lampert's algorithm, it collects the states in a distributed fashion. The processes in the system can send the state they gathered to a monitor process for so this algorithm given by Marzullo and Niger, the observed processes send their status to a process called a monitor, which assembles globally consistent states from what it receives. So it actually segregates only those states which are consistent. Okay, so that work will be done by the monitor. This is a process which is outside the system. Okay, then this goal is to determine the cases when given global state predicate phi was definitely true at some point in the execution we observed, and cases when it was possibly true. So these conditions I told you, whenever you have a deadlock happening, there can be a possibility that many times if the recovery mechanism is not there, in that particular case, the deadlock always will be there, and then that state will be always true. That means it is in the deadlock. Similarly, this possibly as well as definitely true, these are the two things which you can get it for the termination state also. So when the computation is completed and the process is terminated for that whole transaction, so it will be remaining true only. So based on the predicates, whether it is false or true, you will be able to get the consistent states or stable. So possibly there is a consistent global state S through which a linearization of H passes such that phi S is always true. Okay, definitely phi for all linearization. So before that, you should know what do you mean by linearization, what do you mean by cut, what do you mean by inconsistent cut. So if you know these terminologies and the concept, then only you will be able to understand this possibly phi or definitely phi. So in case of definitely phi for all linearization L of H, there is a consistent global state S through which L passes such that phi of S is true. So we will see how we are going to capture this possibly and definitely predicate. So how the process states are collected, how the monitor extracts the consistent global state, how the monitor evaluates possibly phi and definitely phi in the both synchronous as well as asynchronous systems. So in the first case, the observed process is considered as a PI. So there are a number of processes send their initial state to the monitor process, and thereafter from time to time instant messages. So here in this particular case, no need to send the state except initially, and when it changes, only those status it has to be sent. Global state predicate may depend only on certain parts of the process states. So hence it needs only send relevant state. So all states are not required. Only the relevant states will be required to capture whether it is definitely or possible. So need only send a state at times when the predicate may become true or cease to be true. So this state either it is in the same state or it is changing. The monitor process records the state messages from process PI in a separate queue kept for it as QI for each process that is PI starting from 1 to n, as many number of processes which are being considered in the system. So in order that the monitor can distinguish consistent global state from inconsistent global state, the observed processes enclose their vector clock values with their state messages. Whenever it is sending, the consistent values can be taken up along with their timestamps. So each QI is kept ordered in sending order. So you will be able to get this particular part with the ith component of the vector clock. We'll see what are the states or the conditions which you have to check. Okay, for S is a consistent global state or not. So if you consider a state S, which includes various state information starting from S1 to Sn, be a global state drawn from a state messages that the monitor has received. So monitor is a process which actually collects the various state information of various processes which are interacting with one another. So let VSI be the vector clock of the state SI received from PI. So S, when you are going to say it is a consistent global state, if and only if the vector clock of that particular state at the ith iteration or the ith process, it should be greater than or equal to the VSJ of I. So that is the number of PI events known at PJ when it sent SJ is not more than the number of events that have occurred at PI when it is sent as SI. So hence, if one process state depends upon another, then the global state also encompasses the state upon which it is depending. So this particular condition has to be taken care whenever you are going to check the vector stamps collected by the monitor process to get a global state consistent or not. So the monitor process may establish whether a given global state is consistent using the vector timestamps sent by the observed processes. So it can construct a lattice of consistent global states corresponding to the execution of the processes, and then it can capture the relation of reachability between consistent global states, because when the monitor process collects the various status, in that it can actually segregate only those processes which are going to give you a consistent global state, and you will be able to represent it in the form of a lattice. So that lattice will show you the reachability of the various states, okay, which are placed in a particular pattern. And the nodes denote the global state, and the edges denote the possible transition from these states. An example I can show you so that you will be able to understand. Suppose this is a distributed system containing only two processes, and the variables which you are going to use in these two processes, and how the values have been changed from one state to another state, which is been depicted over here. So you'll be able to make out. So here you will be able to get a consistent cut or an inconsistent cut. How do you decide? The red colored curve basically show you the cut. That means at which you will be able to get the, if you are implementing Chandy Lampert algorithm, you will be able to get the states of the processes as well as the channel status, based on which if it obeys the causality condition, then in that case it becomes a consistent cut. If it is not, then it is inconsistent cut. So with this various status information which are being collected by the monitor process and its corresponding vector stamps, you will be able to know that whether from one state to another state, is there any consistency or the reachability. So if you are able to get it in the form of a lattice, where you will be able to show the variable values which are being taken up. That means the states, how it is being changed from one with respect to one variable to the another state with the same variable. So you will be able to know in which cases it is reachable or in which cases it is not reachable. So basically it is based on the linear regression concept which you have studied in the earlier class. So if this is the general status, you have two messages, one from P1 to P2 and other from P2 to P1, which has been sent. You can use a Lampert's or timestamps, which you can utilize it. and then you can draw a lattice, and you can show the various transition states. Okay, so starting from S0 to S43. So in the previous examples, you will be able to get the reachability in the form of particular lattice. For example, if you are going to see that whether S22 is reachable from S20, from that state to whether you will be able to reach S22. So that is possible because you will be able to get this kind of lattice and the linearization, because it will pass through that S21 and it will reach to S22. But if you are taking it from S30 and then you see whether it is reachable, then in that case it is not. So you will be able to get the whole information while making it debugging, because if there is a fault in the system, how are you going to debug the values where it has gone wrong? So to get that, you need to know the global state in that consistent state. In that, you need to know the linearization, wherein which process the state actually consistent and it is reachable up to what. So once that is there, the debugging actually becomes easy. Otherwise, you will end up with the mess that which process has been failed and what error, because of which error it has actually failed, and hence the whole computation either it is halted or it is giving a wrong value. So that is where the consistency, how to maintain, to make it work, you need to go for a debugging process. So linearization traverses the lattice from any global state to any global state, reachable from it on the next level. So that is in each step, some process experience one event. So for example, that is what I told you. S22 is reachable from S20, but it is not reachable from S30. So the lattice shows all linearization corresponding to a history. So with this space-time diagram and values which are changed for the variables, you will be able to make out the various states transitions in the form of a particular lattice. So S0 is the initial okay for process P1. So S10 basically, this is the first event which is being taken up. Next is the status S20 because it is in the same process. So this is the second event which is happening in P1. Like that, you can draw the various state transitions. So S20, that is S20 means S20 basically it is. So S20 here, one actually next event is S30. So other event is S21 because here in this particular case, this is a sending event. So P2 is receiving it. So in the sequence, in the same process, you have 30. So the lattice will go like that. So from S20, you have one way where S21, that is sending one message to the second process. Here in the same process, you are going to get it as S30, that is the next event. So this particular process will be able to get it only there is a message sent from the P2 process back to P1. So in that particular case, so here this particular timestamp, that is timestamp on this receiving event is 43. So it is reachable via this particular event. You will be able to get the Sij state, global state after I events at process 1 and J events at process 2. So if such kind of space-time diagram is given to you, you should be in a position to give the representation in the form of a lattice of various state transitions of various processes and their reachability. So once that is done, you will be able to get the lattice showing the linearization corresponding to a particular history of various events happening in that particular system. So monitor process can now evaluate possibly phi and definitely phi. So to evaluate possibly phi, the monitor process starts at initial state and steps through all the consistent states reachable from that point, evaluating phi at each stage. That means whether it is true or false, it is going on evaluating. It stops when phi evaluates to true. So similarly, for to evaluate definitely phi, the monitor process must attempt to find a set of states through which all linearization must pass, and at each of which phi evaluates to true. So note that the state S dash is reachable from S if this condition is true. So that is what I told you in the previous slide. So whenever this vector stamp of that particular Sj is always greater than or equal to vector stamp of that particular state at that particular process at jth iteration. So that is interacting with the second process. This particular condition will hold good. So note that S dash is reachable from S if these are the two states, if they are reachable, this condition should hold good. So there are two algorithms to evaluate possibly phi and definitely phi. So these have been kept in the form of various steps. What we have actually discussed as discussion. So evaluating possibly phi for global history h of n process. Initially, you take it as 0. Okay, so then you will be able to get states, various states, which you are going to consider in that system of processes. So while phi of s is false for all s belonging to that states, so that is S10 to Sn0. So you increment that value by 1. Reachable S dash, if it is reachable in H from S, this condition should hold good. So in that particular case, this state's value will be equal to reachable, and you will be able to evaluate it as possibly phi. So whatever I had given it in the paragraph form, same thing you can make it in the form of calculus. For global history H of n processes. Again, start with the L and then you get a predicate value for this various states. If the states equal to empty, if you are able to get this as reachable, and you will be able to get phi of s is equal to false. So in this particular case, if states not equal to, you have to increment this value and then see whether it is reachable. Okay, with this particular value which you are going to consider, you will be able to get a count of it, and then whether you will be able to get it as a definitely phi or not, you will be get the evaluation done. So these are the two algorithms through which you will be able to know the predicate values, that is possibly phi or definitely phi. So a global state predicate is a function from the set of global states, true or false. It will take only two values, either true or false. So example is deadlock, okay, and the termination of any various process. So here, whether there is a deadlock or whether there is no deadlock. So either it is true, the state will be always true, or state will be always false. So based on that, you will be get the global state predicate. So a global state S0 satisfies liveness property. Yeah, these two things which are get basically to know whether it is useful for detecting global state, whether it is stable or not. So liveness property and safety property. So these are the two properties which are used. So what do you mean by liveness and what do you mean by safety? Can anyone distinguish? Basically, in reality, like liveness means a particular thing should happening, and in the case of safety means a particular scenario where the bad thing should not happen. So there is like these two terminologies. They seems to be the same, like they give the same meaning, but there is a difference. So global state S0 satisfies liveness property P if liveness P of S, if there exists a linearization from S0 and it passes through SL and PS of L. So whole things, if it is becoming true, that the computation will terminate. So once it is terminated, that is always it is true. Like that is what I say. So when you are going to say that, definitely if the after some execution of steps, the uh, computation is getting terminated, and after that it will stop. So it is always starting from the linearization from S0, starting from the initial state. It will pass some of the states through L, and then it will actually get the ending state from which it is not going to change. So because whole execution without any error, without any failure, it has completed and it has got terminated. So that means it is happening good, right? So wherein you will be able to get the good performance, that liveliness will be there in that particular system. So a global state S0 satisfies this safety property P if safety PS of 0, that's state 0, for all S reachable from S0, PS is equal to false. So here in this case, one example is uh, S has
Hello,
a
ma'am.
deadlock. Yeah.
Hello, ma'am. We have received assignment.
Okay, so I'll stop for today. You can attend the thing, attend the assignment and adhere to the time limit. Okay. So
Okay.
don't go at the last minute and then upload it. We are not entertaining anything in the email and such kind of things. Okay. All the best. Don't leave the meeting. I'll just take the attendance.